Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the DFO Fantasy Show. It is Wednesday, November the 5th. I hope everyone's having a fine Wednesday afternoon. We've got Waiver Wire Wednesday with Biebs coming up. But before we get to Biebs, we've got news and notes of the day, Brock's lock of the day. So let's dive right in to news and notes for November the 5th. We will start in Pittsburgh, where they had a boatload of news yesterday. The Penguins placed Tristan Jarry, Justin Brazeau, and Noel Acciari on IR. And they recalled Sergei Murashov, Danton Heinen, and Ryan Graves from the AHL. The reason I bring this up, obviously Tristan Jarry has played pretty well. The Penguins have been pretty impressive. Obviously the Brazeau injury is unfortunate too. But Murashov was reportedly the best goalie in training camp for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then he absolutely has just dominated the NHL through the month of October, won AHL Player of the Month, going 5-2 with a 173 goals against average and a 931 save percentage in 7 starts. So he could theoretically be the number one goalie in Pittsburgh. I'm assuming he's probably going to split starts with Seeloff, similar to how Jarry was. But Murashov is a name to keep an eye on here moving forward. The Penguins have surprised some people, and if he plays well, he could earn some starts and could work his way into fantasy relevance. So I bring it up because Sergei Murashov is certainly a name to keep an eye on moving forward. Let's now move to San Jose, where William Eklund is going to miss his second straight game with a lower body injury on Wednesday. So the Sharks will be without one of their top 6 wingers, but the Canucks could get a top 6 winger back tonight as Connor Garland skated on Tuesday and could return to the lineup on Wednesday. They weren't 100% certain that was going to be the case. They were a little coy still on whether or not he would play on Wednesday, so consider him a game time decision for now until we get to their morning skate. And the last bit of news here is Rasmus Sandin, who's been sidelined by an upper body injury, is expected to return to the Capitals lineup on Wednesday. So one body out with Pierre-Luc Dubois, one body back in with Rasmus Sandin on the blue line there. So, the Capitals host the St. Louis Blues this evening. So let's now get to Brock's lock of the day. If you've been following along this year, here's where we sit. 7-4 after another win last night. It took Matthew Schaefer up until the end of regulation. I believe there was like 2 seconds left in regulation. It did end up going to overtime, but 2 seconds left when he finally hit the 3 shot on goal mark to hit the over 2.5 shots. Again, great value last night, plus 145. So that brings a record on the season to 7-4 with a 22.6 return on investment percentage. So been a pretty good run here as of late. If you were doing $100 units so far, you'd be up $300 on Brock's lock of the day. So tonight's lock of the day is Sam Rinzel, over 1.5 shots on goal, as you see here from our friends at 5v5hockey.com. If you want to get a free trial here, 7-day free trial, they've got a great prop model. We've been focusing on shots on goal, but you can do any of the other props that you'd like. And they order them based on score. They got all sorts of different things that you can sort by here to find the best props of the day. But today, we're going to focus in on Sam Rinzel. Schaefer, blue liner, yesterday worked out with a score of 100. Today, we've got Rinzel, the score of 99. So we're going Sam Rinzel for Brock's lock of the day. Now, the line is currently sitting at 1.5 shots on goal and at minus 145. Rinzel has hit this mark in 4 straight games and 7 times in his last 8 games. So in his last 8 contests, he's hit this mark at an 87.5% clip, while averaging 2.1 shots on goal and 5.9 shot attempts. The shot attempts are key, right? He's got to be firing the puck to get the puck on net. He's doing that almost 6 times per game. He's getting at least 2 on net thus far. So really like the matchup tonight against the Canucks, a team that gives up the 9th most shot attempts and the 9th most shots on goal per game this season. So Brock's lock of the day, looking to go to 8-4 on the season. Sam Rinzel over 1.5 shots on goal at minus 145. Now, let's welcome in our friend Biebs Bondy as he joins us for Waiver Wire Wednesday. Biebs, how's it going, my friend?
We are doing good, Brock. We're continuing to see some juicy waiver wire pickups come out here this season, which is great. And you know what? Coming off a tough Lions loss, I'm using hockey to bounce back emotionally here. But we are doing excellent. This is my last time in my current studio. I'm moving on to bigger and better things. Basically, I just purchase a new house and have a new studio is essentially where we're going. So those of you who love the orange wall behind me on the YouTube, I am sorry, but it has to go. It's been a good run, and I'm going to have a color that'll be a little bit more Biebs friendly behind me going forward. So
yeah, so
exciting times over at my house.
Yeah, absolutely. Exciting times. Congratulations to you. Last week, we kind of skipped Waiver Wire Wednesday, ended up going more of a buy low, sell high segment. We're going to get back to Waiver Wire, back to our traditional show today. So what we've done in the past, this is the first time you've tuned in, we're going to give you 3 names each. So 6 names total that we like in standard formats, guys that are kind of 30 and under percent owned. We got one name over 30% today, but between 10 and 30%. Guys that should be available on the waiver wires. There's obviously players that are going to be better on the wires, but we want to try to cater to a lot of listeners here and make sure that they're available in a lot of leagues. So for my 3 players, they're all under 15% owned. Then we're going to get to a deep league target. So if you're in really deep leagues and you need somebody definitely under 10%, we're going to give you a deep league target. And then we're going to finish the show out with some banger league targets. So guys that excel in those extended formats. So let's dive right in with the first name on the list. Great first name here, but Biebs, this is your guy. Brock.
I beg to differ. It's a semi-nice first name. It's not too bad, but it's Brock Boeser, currently 37% owned out in Vancouver. Just wanted to own Brock on a hump day here. He's currently on PP1, L1, has 9 points in 12 games, and 9 of those points are 6 goals. And then in those 12 games, he has 28 shots on goal. It's kind of blowing my mind here. We suggested Brock Boeser, I believe, with one of our first episodes when we kind of split our separate ways with the co-host here. And we're circling back here because not much has changed from what we originally said about Brock Boeser. He's Vancouver's main source of goal scoring, maybe besides Connor Garland, but he's currently hurt, as Brock mentioned, could be back soon. But Brock Boeser's surprisingly still only 30% owned, despite being on a 41 goal pace across an 82-game season. That's absolutely bonkers. The 28-year-old winger missed a little bit of time after the passing of his puppy, which is completely reasonable. But he returned with a chip on his shoulder, and he's been both shooting and eating up a ton of ice time. Boeser's played over 20-plus minutes time of ice in 7 of his last 8 games, and he's completed that by rewarding his new head coach, Adam Foote, with 7 points and 23 shots on goal during that span. He's just 1 season removed from a 40-goal, 73-point campaign in 2023-24, and Boeser's proven that he kind of has what it takes to be an elite goal scorer in this league. I would add him now before people start catching on that he is that main scoring and shooting option in Vancouver. And with Garland returning, I expect things to flow a little bit more nicer than they have out there. And Boeser, who's currently on pace for 41 goals, as mentioned, should continue to succeed. It's pretty crazy. Usually we're looking for trends or things that are happening that haven't happened yet to be like, hey, jump on this, but it's already happening for Boeser here. So get in while you can. Shots are there, goals are there, production is there. So it's an easy pickup, a little bit of a shallower, or I guess shallower league option here. But Brock, why don't you get us going with our under 20 pickups? And because I know people really look forward to these, and a lot of our listeners have some deep leagues here. So let's get it going.
Yeah, before I get to them, I brought Boeser up the start of the week as a streaming option. Vancouver had a really nice schedule, and I didn't want to bring up those names again. But Jake DeBrusk, I think, is also worth a mention if Boeser's not available. 22% rostered for DeBrusk right now. I said it on Monday. He's been around it. A lot of high danger looks, a lot of XG going DeBrusk's way, and so far, pretty nice season for him. Again, similar to Boeser, playing big minutes. The shot volume is super strong, but he's shooting just 7.1%. So better days ahead for DeBrusk. So if you missed out on Boeser, I think DeBrusk is a great ad. And I think Evander Kane too is, again, he's a little bit higher owned in banger formats. He's up to 29%, but most of that's going to be in banger formats where he excels. In more standard formats, I think he's available. I laughed real hard because 2 nights ago I tweeted that here are the players with the most shots on goal without scoring a goal. Evander Kane, he scored 2 goals. I'm like, oh, beautiful. So then yesterday on my DFS show, I was just like, well, I fixed Evander Kane yesterday. Now the player with the most shots on goal and no goals is Nikolai Ehlers. So I locked in a goal for Nikolai Ehlers last night. He scored. So that tweet fixed those 2 guys. If you own Evander Kane or Nikolai Ehlers, you are most welcome. But I think that DeBrusk, Boeser, and Kane are all worthy pickups right now. And then obviously Garland coming back is
I was going to say that. 36% for Garland.
Yeah, all 4 of them.
Keep an eye there.
And Elias Pettersson started to look better. Like, this team is starting to figure it out. Jack Hughes is healthy. So, I'm interested in a lot of these Canucks. But let's stay out west with my first pickup. It is Jack Roslovic of the Edmonton Oilers, currently 14% rostered. Roslovic has been just an absolute revelation for the Oilers so far this season. He's signed after the season started. began in kind of their bottom six, middle six, and has quickly climbed up the lineup. He's now skating alongside Leon Draisaitl. He has moved up recently to power play 1, and he's absolutely thriving. He's long been known on this show as a decent streaming option because his shot volume has been always good no matter where he's been, but he's really never had an opportunity quite like this to showcase just how good of a player he was. I mean, if you saw the 2 assists he had last night, they were absolutely beautiful. And now over his last 8 games, he's averaging 2.9 shots on goal, 5.1 shot attempts per game, and he has 7 points, 3 goals, 4 assists in his last 6 games, including 3 on that top power play unit. And then over his last 5 games, he's averaging over 19 minutes per game. So absolutely everything is trending up for Jack Roslovic right now. He's an absolute must add. Pretty surprised he's still at only 14%. Get on him while you can because, yeah, like we want anybody that's playing with Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and the fact that he is now kind of shown that he can be that guy to at least replace Zach Hyman in the short term on power play 1. I really, really like Jack Roslovic. I think the main concern is obviously that Zach Hyman's return is probably coming in the not too distant future. So I don't think his power play 1 spot is very secure, but nonetheless, at 5v5, he seems to have formed a really nice partnership with Leon Draisaitl. And while Hyman might bump him off power play 1, Hyman returning will go with McDavid. And then that at least kind of guarantees that Leon and McDavid will stay on separate lines, which will allow Roslovic to kind of be the main focal point on that Leon Draisaitl line next to him. So the power play 1 time, obviously not a sure thing moving forward, but enjoy it while you can. And then obviously the fact that he gets to skate next to Leon Draisaitl 5v5 is great news. Biebs, why don't you take it away with our third pickup of the day?
Yeah, before I do, I just want to say one of the bonuses of following Brock or I on Twitter is Jack Roslovic actually was 1% owned as of Saturday. So we've gone, 2-3 days now. He's jumped up 14%. I think we were both kind of on top of that there. And if you saw it and you jumped on him then, awesome. And if he's still out there in 86% of your leagues, also awesome. But just goes to show how quickly guys can move when we're doing the week-to-week shows here. And how you can get ahead of it by following us across all socials there. But love the Roslovic pick. He's passing all the eye tests in Edmonton. But now on to someone who is not quite performing the way they should be, although I wish they were. It's Alexis Lafreniere out in New York, currently 19% owned. A bunch of people probably going, oh, why am I hearing about this guy right now? Currently occupying PP1 and L2. Lafreniere only has 6 points in 14 games, but he does have 32 shots on goal this year. And if bad puck luck had to face this season and probably for their career, I think it would very likely be Alexis Lafreniere in 2025-26. With only one goal on 32 shots on goal, we're kind of entering Nikolai Ehlers territory now, which is hilarious now that he's on the board. Lafreniere is doing everything despite his lack of results on the score sheet. He's averaging 2.29 shots on goal per game. He's still occupying New York's top power play unit. And he still is a former first overall pick. So there is pedigree there. He had a modest 3-game point streak going into last night's game before they ran into a unbeatable Pyotr Kochekov. That was an insane performance and just what seems to be happening in New York night in and night out this year. But before that, a modest 3-game point streak. He is currently averaging 46 more seconds than any previous career high he's had in his career, and he's on pace to hit 200 shots on goal for the second time in his career. New York just doesn't seem ready to give up on Lafreniere, and I really am not either. If I have an open spot on my team, I think we've watched him go through hot spurts before, and I think we're kind of just waiting for that puck to start going in, for some bounces to go his way. It's really rare to find a guy with this type of ceiling, but also this type of usage below 20% at this time of year. And like I mentioned, it doesn't seem like New York's fading away from him yet, and until they do, I'm definitely interested as long as he's occupying that top power play, as long as he's shooting the puck, as long as things are, going on in New York and he is occupying that top 6. So it might not seem pretty on paper right now, but when the turn comes, I want to be behind it. And I think that there is still something there for Lafreniere. But I made a little tweet yesterday and said, I'm a clown for thinking that New York can provide us any type of fantasy production this year, because I've definitely been screwed by the Zibanejad and the Millers, but not the Shesterkins. So shout out him. But yeah, Laf, would love to see you get going. Keep shooting. Keep staying on the ice.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. This New York Rangers team is the most unlucky team in the league right now. Like it's unbelievable. If you take a look at Sports Logic's on ice goals scored below expected, here are the 4 worst names in the NHL. Mika Zibanejad, 14 goals scored below expected in all situations. Artemi Panarin, 13.9 goals scored below expected in all situations. JT Miller, 12 goals scored below expected in all situations. Alexis Lafreniere, 11.6 goals scored below expected in all situations.
Insane.
And then Adam Fox, 11. Those are the 5 of the 6 worst names in that category. And then Lafreniere himself, 4.3 goals scored below expected, is the second worst mark in the entire league. Jason Robertson, the only one with a worse mark than him. So it's just been incredibly unfortunate. They literally cannot win on home ice. They cannot score on home ice. JT Miller expressed a lot of frustration last night. This team, I think, is going to get it going before too long. I think we have to remember that we are still only a month into the season. They got to get it going eventually. It's not for a lack of trying. They are generating chances. It's the luck's going to turn eventually, and hopefully Lafreniere, among others, will benefit from that. So let's get on to our 4th pickup of the day. I have Victor Olofsson from the Colorado Avalanche. I'm going to keep this one quick. Olofsson isn't seeing big minutes. He's just under 15 minutes per night lately, but he's been extremely efficient with those minutes. Over his last 13 games, he has 12 points. So near a point per game at 5 goals, 7 assists, while averaging 3.2 shots on goal and 4.8 shot attempts. So that's what really makes Olofsson a great pickup, a great own, is the shot volume has been unbelievable. But his biggest value lies on Colorado's top power play unit, where he's picked up 5 power play points, despite that group ranking 22nd in the NHL at a 17% conversion rate. So that is a unit that has been top 5 in the league since 2023. So I expect with the Makars and the McKinnons and the Netchasses, and I expect that unit to get going and be a top 10 unit. And if that happens, Olofsson should be right along for the ride, and his power play production and overall production should rise as that unit heats up. So I like Olofsson. I like the shot volume a lot. Like, obviously, I want to see him play more minutes. I don't think like Olofsson's a guy that you're going to just pick up and keep on your roster forever. It maybe that ends up being the case, but like, I don't. I think in the short term, he's a nice pickup, and hopefully things continue this way because the shot volume has been really, really good. You're a resident Avalanche fan. Any quick thoughts on Olofsson before we get to our next player?
No, you nailed it. He's just succeeding in the minutes he's being given right now. It's not a guy who you're going to see hit 17 minutes in a game because he just doesn't provide that for Colorado. But what he does is a lot of shots on net. And they did say coming into this year, we brought him in to be on our top power play. He's doing exactly that. So this is a fantastic pickup, I think, Brock. And I love him for, as you mentioned, you might not have him all year, but while he's hot, he's going to surprise you with what he does out there. And we've seen it. He's had a couple multi-point games, and those are weak movers for you. So
yeah. And he's also a guy that we've seen have success before. It's been kind of a few years since it's happened, right? But we know he's got a great shot. He had 28 goals in 2023. He had a couple 20-goal seasons before that. Like, he can shoot the puck, and play it on a unit with the Makars and the McKinnons, where a lot of the focus is on them. Olofsson's going to be left alone a lot, and hopefully he has more opportunities to let that shot go. I'm going to go again here, my next pickup, and that's going to be Jordan Eberle from the Seattle Kraken, currently just 12% rostered. I mentioned Eberle as one of the top week 5 streaming options on Monday, but he's playing well enough to be a long-term hold as well. Despite Seattle's offensive struggles, they are among the worst XG teams in the league. He's been steady thus far with 10 points, 5 goals, 5 assists in 12 games. He's averaging a really healthy 2.3 shots on goal, 4.5 shot attempts, and I mean, if you're in banging leagues, he's not bad there either, averaging 1.2 hits per game. He'll chip in a little bit at least. He's logging over 19 minutes per night, which is top 60 in the NHL among all forwards, and ranks 42nd in the league in terms of individual expected goals per game. So the production is definitely sustainable. It seems like he's generating a lot of looks in the minutes that he's being given. So yeah, like a top 40 mark in the league, or top 42nd ranked in terms of IXG is pretty good, and a guy that I expect to continue to have success and continue to score goals. And I think what makes Eberle an interesting target is, again, I don't think Eberle's a guy that you're going to add and he's going to be on your team for the entirety of the season, but for the next couple weeks, perhaps. I already mentioned they had a really good streaming schedule this week. For the remainder of this week, it's the number 2 ranked strength of schedule. Next week, they've got the 14th ranked strength of schedule. And then the week after that, week 7, they've got the 5th ranked strength of schedule. So it's a really nice schedule for not just this week, but for the next 2 weeks as well for the Kraken. Lines up nicely for Jordan Eberle. So I like him as a short to medium term ad. Again, Probably not a guy that's going to score 40 goals and be on your team all year, but somebody that can definitely help you for the next month or so. So I like Jordan Eberle, currently sitting at 12% rostered. Let's get to our final standard league pickup, Biebs.
Alrighty, so going into this, Brock and I we agree on anyone under 40%, and I decided to go with 2%. Ben Kindle out in Pittsburgh, and I'm very excited about this one, Brock. He's currently occupying power play 1, line 3, and he has 5 goals in 12 games this season, 26 shots on goal for the rookie, coming off a 2-goal, 7-shot on goal performance across 22-23 on Monday. Time on ice there. There are very few young talents that have opened my fantasy eyes like Ben Kindle this season, with Rickard Rakell hitting the IR last week and out for supposedly a chunk of time here. Pittsburgh was in need of an offensive spark to add to their top power play unit with Crosby and Malkin humming so far this year, and they enter Ben Kindle, their 2025 11th overall pick. Kindle's only 18, but he had 35 goals and 99 points with Calgary last year in the WHL. That kind of sent him right up draft boards. And then he proceeded to follow that up with a fantastic training camp, which earned him a spot on the roster. If he can continue to raise his time on ice, he's currently sitting at 14.03 and be higher up like we saw on Monday with 22-23. I don't expect that every night, but if we can see, 16, 17 minutes of ice per night from a type of talent like this, and one that's firing the puck at an impressive rate, is, as mentioned, 26 shots on goal in 12 games this year. That's good for 2.16 shots per game. His recent power play success should keep him up there on that top power play. As I mentioned, some elite talent there with him. And with Pittsburgh, we don't really know where they're going to be at the deadline. We originally came into the season, they would be likely sellers. Now we're not too sure. They were first in the league last year last week at a certain point with the best record. So who knows where they'll be? But if they are sellers at the deadline, expect Kindle to kind of work his way up the lineup even more, as he is the future out in Pittsburgh. I really like him here. He's in a great position to succeed on power play 1, shooting a lot. The 5v5 time might not be there, but while he's occupying it, I really like him as an option, especially in those deeper leagues. I'm expecting this 2% to skyrocket into double digits if he has another nice night on the top power play. So get ahead of it now while you can. The pedigree's there, and it's an exciting name for sure to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think the only downside is that he's not going to be playing for Team Canada at the World Juniors. Obviously, that's unfortunate. But yeah, we actually just got news right now as we were recording. Justin Brazeau out 4 weeks. Noel Acciari out 3 weeks. Tristan Jarry out 3 weeks. So I think the Brazeau injury maybe opens up the potential for a little bit more ice time, a little bit of double shifting for Kindle. We saw a little bit of that the other night. Saw some time with Evgeny Malkin. So I think there's the potential for him to move to the wing for a couple shifts and earn a little bit more ice time there. Obviously, the power play 1 spot is good. And definitely, again, I'm not sure I'm picking up Kindle in, a 12-team league right now.
Yeah,
but like a deeper league, I do think that he's in a good spot to succeed. Obviously, that is a top power play unit having a lot of success. And if they do shuffle that lineup up a little bit, I think, again, definitely a name worth keeping an eye on in standard formats moving forward. Let's now we kind of just already started with our deep league targets. Let's continue on with our deep league targets. And I've got Evan Rodriguez from the Florida Panthers at 9% rostered. He's worth a look in those deeper formats. He's skating on the Florida's top line with Sam Reinhart and Carter Verhaeghe as of last night. And that's a trio that's been just generating elite underlying numbers so far. 4.2 expected goals, 4 per 60, 43 scoring chances, 16 high danger chances, 4 per 60 in a 67-minute sample size. So they've been, off to a really, really nice start. We'll see kind of how things continue to roll. Obviously, an ugly performance against the Ducks last night, who are just running over everybody right now. But as for Rodriguez personally, he has 8 points, 3 goals, 5 assists in 13 games, and he's got really steady peripherals. 2.1 shots on goal, 3.8 shot attempts, and 1.5 hits per game. So he'll chip in banger leagues as well. So I like him as a value option here in deeper formats. I think he's in a good spot in the lineup, playing bigger minutes now, and that's a trio that should have better success moving forward. The metrics are really, really strong, and I think they'll find some success eventually. You're going to get Reinhart, you're going to get Verhaeghe going. Rodriguez is a guy with good shoveling that can chip in. I think the one thing that makes me excited about Rodriguez and at least potentially giving him the staying power in that top lineup spot is, this is a quote from Paul Maurice yesterday. I think Rodriguez plays a certain way that's more akin to Alexander Barkov. There's more give and go, and Sam can read off that play, Maurice said. I also think Verhaeghe's done a really good job hunting pucks and creating turnovers, and that's what Sam Reinhart is so good at. he will read those plays. So he really likes the look of this line. He thinks Rodriguez has got a little bit of bark off in him, and that can keep that top line flowing. So Maurice is a very open book usually, and I think that at least suggests that Rodriguez has got some staying power on that top line. So in deeper formats, he's definitely a guy I'm taking a look at given those elite line metrics. Who's your deep league pickup? Or I guess second deep league pickup.
Yeah, my second deep one. I will say too, I had a couple of people reach out this week. Verhaeghe's getting dropped in some leagues, and if that's the case, it's definitely someone to grab if he does hit your wire. I think we can agree, as we mentioned last week on our buy lows.
Yeah,
there's
he's
something there.
Down to 63% rostered right now. It's so bizarre because he's obviously a player we were very high on coming into the season. The puck luck was just not there last year, and then we saw it all kind of come to a head in the playoffs where he got hot again, and it's just been the exact same story. He shot 8.3% last year, just 6.1% this year. The on-ice shooting percentage of 7.5%. I mean, better days ahead for him, better days ahead for this entire line. So yeah, I like if Verhaeghe hits your waiver wire, scoop him up immediately.
Definitely throw that waiver ticket in. But you're likely in a deep league if you stayed along with us this long and he's not hitting your waiver wire. So here's another name that's occupying a top power play that I like right now. It's Dalibor Dvorsky out in St. Louis, currently 1% rostered. That's right, he's out there in 99% of your leagues. He's power play 1 and line 3. He's got 1 goal in 3 games played this year, 4 shots on goal, just called up last week to make his season debut. Dvorsky was moved to power play 1 on Monday morning, which, again, we pointed out right away on Twitter when it happened. And he rewarded his head coach by ripping a one-timer with the man advantage into the back of the cage against Edmonton right away. It was fantastic. It looked Pavel Dorofeyev-esque, and it was a sight to be seen. Dvorsky is one of the Blues' top prospects after being drafted 10th overall in 2023, and he's being handed the reins to the offense after just 3 games based on his recent usage and upgrade in the lineup. The 20-year-old is coming off an impressive inaugural season with Springfield. He had 21 goals and 45 points in 61 games as a 19-year-old, which is not something to scoff at. It's very impressive, and most players are still playing junior hockey. He's kind of dominated every level he's been at. The reason he left the OHL to play in the AHL at 19 was because he had 45 goals and 88 points in 52 games in 23-24. He is a natural goal scorer, and that's what they brought him in for. That's what they're calling up Dalibor Dvorsky to do in St. Louis. Alongside his recent success, Dvorsky has been a surprising contributor in banger leagues. He's got 4 hits in 3 games. Not to say he's going to go around just rocking people, but it does show that he's willing to do what it takes to stay in the Blues lineup. And if he is going to be in that lineup, he's likely to be around that top power play. And I like him as a sneaky goal source if you are in these deep leagues. It's very rare. We mentioned it that you can find someone on a top power play below 10%. Usually if you do, it's someone who you don't even want to touch. But Dvorsky, if I'm in a very deep league, I'm definitely keeping an eye here. And then in the shallower league, someone to just, keep on your radar. We've seen guys like Dorofeyev take off being power play specialists. Even Victor Olofsson, as we previously mentioned, he has that power play pedigree. If Dvorsky can be that guy in a deeper league, I like it. And the ceiling is insanely high here. Keeper leagues, this should be a guy who is already on your target, or already on your radar. But if not, definitely start looking into Dalibor. I'm really impressed with this kid so far, and I hope that St. Louis gives him all the room to grow. The other thing I was worried about was that Jimmy Snuggerud would kind of take a hit if Dvorsky took that step forward, and he hasn't. They're playing both on the wing or on both sides of the wall on their top power play, and with Robert Thomas giving you passes, they are both lining up just to rip shots, and I love it. So Dalibor Dvorsky, keep that name in your mind.
Yeah, he's obviously a really highly touted prospect, a lot of skill, good goal scorer at every level. I think that the way the season has gone for the Blues thus far, he's probably got some sticking power within this lineup right now. It's a team that's really struggling to generate offense, and hopefully he can bring some of that. Let's get to our banger league targets. I'm going to go first with a pretty obvious one here, and it's Emil Heineman from the New York Islanders, currently 25% rostered. Heineman's already rostered in a lot of banger leagues. I don't know what the percentage would be, but if he is somehow still available, grab him in your banger formats. He's currently skating with Bo Horvat on the top line, and then recently Matt Barzal was added to that line last night, giving that line a little bit of an offensive boost. But through 13 games, he's tallied 8 points, 5 goals, 3 assists, while averaging 2.1 shots on goal and 3.9 hits per game. He currently ranks 5th among all forwards in hits, and he's only one of 2 players within the top 10 of hits, alongside Kiefer Sherwood with more than 6 points thus far. So he brings kind of that rare category coverage, but also has the ability to chip in a little bit offensively because he is playing on that top line with Bo Horvat. And that's a duo that's had really, really strong offensive metrics together thus far. Adding Barzal, a duo of Barzal and Horvat last year had tremendous offensive metrics together. So I imagine that will continue. And then Heineman should reap the benefits of playing with both of them while also doing a lot of the dirty work and going in and banging bods with frequency. So again, 25% rostered. He's going to be, rostered in most banger formats, but he's still not going to jump off the page necessarily, just given the kind of somewhat limited offensive output thus far. I just want to pull up my banger league here to see where he ranks overall. I believe it's like top 60. So he is currently 57th ranked in standard category banger formats right now. So there's a chance he's still out there. If he is, make sure you scoop him up. Emil Heineman, 25% roster. Just my banger league pickup. Close out the show with yours, Biebs.
Yep. I actually streamed Heineman in a non-banger league against Brock last week, so the name is fresh on his lips. But yeah, super useful target right there. My banger target, and people are going to laugh here, it's Oliver Ekman-Larsson out in Toronto, currently 24% owned. Power play 1 on their third defensive unit. He's got 8 points in 13 games, 16 shots on goal, 19 hits, 14 blocks. But why Ekman-Larsson is getting brought up here is because Oliver Ekman-Larsson was promoted to Toronto's top power play unit on Tuesday to help their 31st ranked power play out of the league's basement. And despite starting the season with just 16 shots on goal and 13 games played, he should realistically see those totals go up, as he's now taking the spot of Morgan Rielly, who just could not get it done on Toronto's top power play. And despite those 16 shots on goal in 13 games, he's had a very, very strong season to start. He has 8 points, as mentioned, which would put him on pace for 55 points across an 82-game season, which is pretty fantastic when we're talking about a defenseman. But now add in the fact that he has been rather inclined to hit lately. In his last 5 games, we've seen Oliver Ekman-Larsson put up 11 hits, and it's not all like a 6-hit game. He's had 2 here, 3 there, 2 there, and as mentioned, in his last 5 games. So that's over 2 a game. So with this added ice time, we're hoping that Oliver Ekman-Larsson can both add some knocks, add some blocks, as well as just help those general stats that he's been kind of doing well in so far. Ekman-Larsson's proven that he can hit in the past. He's finished above 2+ hits per game twice in his career. He's finished above 150 hits 4 separate times. And he has shown, when it needs to happen, he can go out there and throw some hits. If he can improve Toronto's horrendous man advantage in any way possible, he should be able to keep that spot and contribute even a bit more on the offensive categories while providing both banger and standard league help. This makes him a very easy target to roster if you are in need of some defensive help in either league, and someone that, he might not rock the world in hits, but he's still going to provide enough that you're not going to get hurt there, and he should be able to help you with points, which is very rare in banger leagues. I know a lot of people, their fourth D-man is just someone who gets like 250 hits, but maybe 3 points all year. So if you can do both and hit both categories, I think it's worth the mention. But I mostly just wanted to shout out Oliver Ekman-Larsson for his new promotion onto Power Play 1 in Toronto. I cannot believe a roster with that much talent is the 31st ranked power play. Can you, Brock? I can't. It's blowing my mind.
I absolutely cannot.
It's so weird.
That is going to do it for this edition of the DFO Fantasy Show. Thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well so you never miss a show. If this is the first time you tuned into the DFO Fantasy Show, Monday, I break down the best streaming targets for the week. Tuesday, we do a fantasy hockey mailbag and go over just kind of whatever's on the top of my mind. This week, we went over some of the red hot streaks and how sustainable are they? How sustainable are they not? So we'll do that. Then Waiver Wire Wednesday every single Wednesday with Biebs, and Thursday I'm joined by Dylan Berthium as we go over the streaming schedule for the weekend, who the best streamers are, and all that for the weekend to help you solidify those wins. And then obviously I do my live DFS show every day, Monday through Friday. So a lot going on here. We got betting advice from Matthew Barnaby, starting goalie stuff from Carter Hutton. So lots of stuff going on here in the DFO Fantasy channel. Be sure to tune in, smash the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. That's going to do it for this edition. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow.
Run over to that waiver wire. Peace.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want more great fantasy hockey and betting content from myself, Carter Hutton, Matthew Barnaby, and the rest of the DFO analysts, make sure you subscribe to the DFO Fantasy and Betting YouTube channel today and never miss a minute.